next question is from Mintshock. Just position it, there we go. So Mintshock is asking, at what point would you consider working on Linux client again? After the splitting, after 1.0, or much later? So right now we don't really have any specific kind of time, like any specific kind of milestone. I know at the very least it wouldn't be before the splitting. I don't know if before, after 1.0, it might be after as well, after we do a whole bunch of other things, because the core of the issue is, we don't have the bandwidth to it. We don't have the time to kind of deal with all of the kind of specific issues. And we're essentially looking, at all the things, on our plate. And there's stuff UI improvements. There's stuff the performance that we're working with right now. There's stuff physics. There's stuff like the IK. And you essentially have to decide, okay, so which one are we going to invest time into? Because we only, you essentially end up in a situation where you can pick one or the other. Because your time is, our time is limited, so we have to decide which one we invest time in. So it becomes a question, is the native Linux client more important than, for example, rigid body physics? Is the native Linux client more important than UI improvements? Is the native Linux client more important, than having the workshop system? So it kind of becomes that kind of a question is when does it become more important than all the other things we need to deal with? So I would say at the point, if there's a, situation where we are we have enough bandwidth for it, because the other aspect of this, as we kind of grow the team, we'll be able to have people dedicated to specific, more kind of maintaining specific kind of areas. So having an engineer whose responsibility can be maintaining the Linux one, that could also solve the problem. But for that, we need to grow, and in order to grow, we need to improve a lot of things. One of those being, the performance that's being worked on right now. Another being the UI, is adding kind of more features. And there's also a question, if we offer native Linux client, does that help us grow or not? Because if it doesn't help us grow enough and, get enough funding to afford more engineers, we're probably not going to prioritize it. And it sucks, that that's the kind of reality of things, but we do have to be very careful about where we spend our time. Because we need to make sure we can kind of keep going, we can keep paying people on the team, and we can keep growing the team to kind of tackle more of the problems. And we want all the engineers to tackle problems that are most likely to let us grow more, bring more people on the platform, get more support, get more funding. So at some point we might grow to the point where we're okay, we can focus on this again. There's good reasons for it. We can afford it, we're big enough, but I don't know when it's gonna happen. But we're probably gonna focus on some bigger, bigger priorities before that happens.